Going live. You're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another miraculous episode of the best darn show on the internet, the
Let me let
Oversharon
me
Show.
yes, and let
Please
me
do.
say that it's miraculous because we've been hermiting hard and more Brandon so than I. But
Yeah. Yes, we have been, and that's what we're here.
oh,
Probably going to talk about that a lot. So if you've missed us or whatever, stick around. We're going to be talking about all that stuff. But before we do that, let me just fix my. We have a quote, and we're going to pull a card, and
and I
all the
don't even
fun.
think that I know the quote you're gonna, so it'll be a surprise
Yeah,
to me.
it will kind of be surprised. I read it quickly, but yeah, I hope this is no, it looks like we're live. We're going fine. For some reason, my computer's moving slow, though. It's really weird. Okay. All right, computer. So there we go. And Zoom updated, so the buttons are everywhere, but it's cool. Actually, it looks easier now. Share. There we go. It is only necessary to destroy in oneself the roots of those motives which determine a man's course in order to enjoy the omnipotence and immunity of a god. And that's by Alistair
Interesting.
Crowley. And I'll read it one more time because it looks a little confusing, and we'll break it down, obviously. But it is only necessary to destroy in oneself the roots of those motives which determine a man's course. So if you think about it, because we've been talking about the Tao a lot with our Tao series, the roots of those motives which determine man's course, that could be considered desires, right? So, and then in order to enjoy the omnipotence and immunity of a god, so somebody's like, wait, I could become omnipotent and immune to things? Well, it depends on how you look at it. Maybe, I don't know exactly, but the one way that I could say it could work is that you're just immune from things bothering you, and you're omnipotent in a way because you're more in the present moment and you're more in tune with things that are happening, and more synchronicities, positive synchronicities at least, happen. I would say that's my experience anyway. So, what do you think, Sharon?
Smashing.
Yeah.
It's only necessary to destroy it in one study. So you didn't uh send this to me early on, so I didn't have a chance to think about it, but let's see, which determines a man's course in order to enjoy the omnipotence and immunity of a god. It is definitely a deep one. Um, destroy in oneself the roots of those motives. Well, I mean, this is rooted in desire, right? And we
Yeah.
talk about desire a lot. And desire sometimes brings about suffering, right? As they say in Buddhism, right? I don't know, I could be wrong.
Yeah. 100%.
Um,
No, I think, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, no, exactly, exactly. I think it's just a more eloquent Alistair-y way to say it.
Yeah. In
Destroy
order to
one's
enjoy the omnipotence and immune. Oh wow. That just clicked. Wow.
pretty cool,
I
right?
guess
Yeah,
I guess to me this says um like basically follow the path of Buddha. You are you are omnipotent, you are immune, you are a god.
exactly.
Uh
And
something
the
like
the
that.
thing too, also the way you could look at it is because we say all the time, right, with the whole two ways to view different things that we break down, the physical and the spiritual. So you could say that also for that quote, because he's saying here, in order to enjoy the omnipotence and immunity of a god. So if you want to look at things in the spiritual way, like when we say, oh, the wars in the Middle East are terrible, it's so bad, all those people in that country, they're just, terrible, those people, and you could get upset about it, but then you can also look at it through the eyes of like a god, as we say, in the spiritual way, in this way. And that is by not looking through the lens of your desires. And that's really what I think he's saying. It's like, the world is perfect if you
Mhm.
look at it in a certain point of view. If God looks at it as perfect, you can too from this point of view. So
Okay, I love that. Thank you for clarifying. That was good.
Yeah, no worries. And it's funny because I grabbed that quote really quickly and I read it and I didn't have an idea until I read it really on the on here and there was pressure and then I had to like
Yeah.
and then what you said too helped.
That's what helps me too sometimes is the pressure a little bit.
Mm,
But yeah. Well, I am pulling from the Tarot of the Divine today.
sweet.
So let's see what Source
See what you
has for
can
us today.
divine for today. Yeah.
It's a divine because we were all divine. The Eight of Coins, which is the Eight of Pentacles. Who do I sound like? Michael Tessarian. Didn't he say it was like, it's not pentacles, it's pantacles or
Oh,
something?
really? Oh,
I think he said that once.
it's all bollocks.
Yeah.
Now you sound like him though.
It's a girl and there's a bunch of birds
Oh.
flying away and she looks kind of sad picking up the pentacles from the ground, from the floor.
That's crazy because Elizabeth pulled a card earlier, and I'm pretty sure it was the Eight of Pentacles because I know
Okay,
it
well,
wasn't Eight of Wands. Wow.
and she's a redhead, like your dear one.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, let's I want to see what
Okay.
this little book says about the eight of, and then you can tell us your thoughts. Let's see. Eight of Coins. There are six swans in the picture. So it says six swans. Germany. That's
Oh,
funny. We just had Joe and Sandra in town. And we can talk about that a little bit more, but
that's really
they
cool.
were in from Germany. All right. It's from a German fairy tale. The Eight of Coins represents the long haul. Okay. The slough, Slough. Slough.
Oh, maybe that's how
I'll,
you say.
I'll look it up or you
Yeah.
look it up. If you have a
Oh, yeah.
chance.
You go ahead. You do it. Oh,
Slough. In the middle of a project that needs to be completed, the little princess needs to keep weaving nettles in silence if she wishes to set her cursed brothers free. Upright, it means craftsmanship, commitment, determination, ambition, concentration. And reversed, it means repetition, poor quality, rushing, and bad reputation. Yes, indeed. That reminds me of the Eight of Pentacles in the, do I have it? In the Rider Waite. Because to
oh yeah.
me, I always think of when you would like tell me about what that card meant, and it was about kind of perfecting your craft. So that was about craftsmanship.
Mm. And I looked up that word too. I could actually share it so we can get an idea.
So we can learn a new word and learn how to pronounce it.
So I guess it could be slew. Is that SLO with the two lines? Would that be slew or slew? Slew?
Oh, so slew.
Yeah, slew.
Oh, like a slew of things, like a bunch
Oh
of things. Is
yeah,
that what that means?
like a flu, like a log flu, or like a slew. Yeah. Oh yeah, like a slew. There we go. Oh yeah.
Right? Is that how
Yeah,
I
yeah.
never knew how to.
Like a plethora. Yeah, like
Yes, I've
oh,
heard of
okay.
slew, but I just didn't know that it was spelled that
We
way.
learned a new word that we didn't know we knew, but we knew it and we didn't know we knew. Isn't that great?
Oh, but it's also pronounced slough too. Hmm.
Oh,
Oh, to slough off.
oh,
Like to slough off
yeah.
the outer layer of the skin of a snake, which is cast off periodically.
Oh,
Anything that is shed or cast off, that's
oh.
slough. So what did I say? Let me see that again.
Interesting.
Oh, come on. Where are you at?
The best darn show on the internet. It is
Uh,
miraculous.
yes. The slough in the middle of a project that needs to be completed. I still don't know what they mean by that.
Oh, maybe it means like like the little things that you don't want to do. I don't know.
But it's see, okay, so it has different definitions. So the other one is slough, and it is a swamp or a swamp-like region, a hole full of mud or wet soil, a condition of degradation, despair, or helplessness. Maybe the other slough is not what we thought it was.
Maybe not.
I think that one was SLEW, to be honest. Anyway, we're doing definitions here today,
We're
everyone.
killing it today. People are
We're
learning on
learning
new
new
words.
words.
It's fine. There's no
SLEW.
set plan today, so it's okay. Is anyone going on?
Yes, a slew of people is SLEW, like a slew of things or like a
Oh,
large
okay.
number of quantity, or SLUE. Gotta love English. It's like all over the place.
Oh, SLUE is the same too, is that? Wow.
As SLEW.
Yeah.
And some of these are spelled way differently and still pronounced the same way and have different meanings.
It's English. Such a green
Gotta,
language.
gotta love it. Cray
So
cray.
I do I do want to say something I want to bring up before I forget. I thought of something yesterday. It's kind of like a punchline to this whole, you know how everybody says that I look like everyone's Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, you know, this like I look like Jesus.
Everyone's Lord and Savior.
And I've been thinking of a way to word it and stuff. Well, as I was driving yesterday, I was just thinking, because people are like, how do you know you're a comedian? It's like, well, all day, all I do is everything that happens. I'm just like, how can I make this funny and put it on stage? Like my brain just does it. Sometimes I have to stop myself and I'm like, listen, I could just chill right now. I don't need to be. So anyway, when I was driving, I was thinking about Tuesday. And remember, you guys know what happened Tuesday, right? I was thinking about that whole thing, and I'm like, listen, there's two sides to this. And as a comedian, I people are going to ask me, if they ask me, who'd you vote for, all this stuff. It's like, or are you mad, or who did you want to? And to me, it doesn't matter. I'm going to resonate with the winning side because I'm a comedian and I'm about joy. So I'm going to resonate with that side. And then I'm going to try to make the other side feel better. So because of the results of Tuesday, I was thinking, I'm like, guys, listen, you know, I don't know how I would even do it on stage forever, but I'm like, I will protect you. Don't worry. The people that lost, you're so worried that this guy's crazy. I'm like, look at me. I'll protect you. I'm like, I look like the fucking, oh, no, wait. I was like, I'll protect you guys. Don't worry. They'll stand behind me. I look like I died for their sins. Like I look like I died for their fucking sins. Like I'll be fine. Like you'll be fine. Just stand by me. Anyway, that's kind of the punchline. It's why it probably works better on stage. But I think that's how I'm gonna do it. Instead of saying I look like Jesus or whatever, I'm gonna be like, I look like I died for your sins, or I look like I died for their sins. But
That's
anyway,
funny.
I thought it was pretty funny. What do you guys think? Um, but yeah, I mean, we're probably not gonna talk too much about that because I think this what happened. We're not really surprised. We kind of thought this was going to happen anyway. On
I mean,
Tuesday.
whatever was meant to happen was going to happen.
Yeah, but
Either way it went.
it's funny because all those, what's his name, Jason from Archaics. Even though I don't really listen to any content, and that's part of the hermiting. Lately, I haven't listened to anything, but he used to talk about this particular day on Tuesday and who was going to win and what was going to happen after. And even things that were going to happen before. And it seems that those things are kind of happening. Maybe not exactly in the order, but I think his divination process or whatever that he uses isn't very exact. But it's just interesting to see it. So, I mean, if it goes according to what he says we're going to have like an economic boom. It's not going to be like a crash, like everything's going to get great. So it's something to look forward to, everybody. I just like to push this message of like positivity because everybody, it's like it's doom and gloom and it's terrible out there and there's going to be a civil war. And I'm like, a civil war, yeah, to last till lunchtime because sometimes in a civil war, you don't get lunch and you just can't stop fighting everybody. Like sometimes lunch and dinner doesn't show up and sometimes there's not even breakfast. So I'm not
We're
really
not
worried about
about doom and gloom here.
yeah. We're about making everybody laugh here, anybody. But I guess that kind of leads in what we've been kind of leads into what we've been up to, really, and all that stuff. Unless there's anything else
Indeed.
you wanted to that we didn't finish up on. What's going on?
Um, I was going to just I guess I could just catch people up on Joe being here and Sandra. We
Yeah.
had we
Oh,
had
and
a
shout out to
really
everybody in the chat, by the way. Rick
yeah.
O. Oh, that's cool. Rick O, yo.
I don't know, Rico. Welcome, Rick O.
Oh, I know who Rick O is. Shout out, by the way, to Ricky. I think he's
Oh.
a guy that I work with. He started watching
Oh,
the show. He
okay.
really likes it. And it, interestingly enough, I was talking to him, to Ricky, about the Bhagavad Gita because I'm pretty sure he was born in the United States, but his family is from India.
Oh,
So he's very familiar with that stuff. And he's a really fun, silly guy, just like me. So shout out to Ricky. And
shout out.
yeah, let's know if you have any questions. Thanks for hanging out. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's as far as that Tuesday thing and in the way we look at the whole world, everybody, like if you're feeling sad or down or whatever it is about it, it just look at what we say all the time, right? Like things are gonna happen out of your control. And the only thing you really have a choice over is how you're gonna feel about it. That's your free
And
will. You get to
respond.
decide, am I going to be thankful for certain things or am I going to be a victim, right? Or am I going to be a victor or victim? So that's really
Hmm.
all it's about. But if you're sad, it's fine. You can be sad, feel those feelings, and then just look for the gratitude, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can allow yourself to feel what you're going to feel.
Yeah,
There's
or happy if you're really
absolutely
happy. Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Um,
I saw a really happy
but
guy yesterday on the highway. He had a giant Trump flag, and I was just laughing because he's driving through Connecticut with this huge Trump flag. I'm like, you go, man. I'm like, you
that's
might get shot
funny.
or ran off the road, but it's great now.
Oh
Actually, it was really
my.
close here in Connecticut.
I heard that. Was it that in Jersey? I think
Perhaps
Jersey was close too, allegedly.
like I don't pay attention a lot, but at night, it was already early Wednesday morning. I'm like, let me just look and see what happened, right? And so I was looking, and they didn't declare a winner yet, but I saw in Connecticut that the gap was only like 60 to 80,000 votes. Where in Massachusetts, the gap was like 700,000 votes, and in DC was the best. DC was like a million votes for like Harris Walls. I don't know who that guy is, Harris Walls, but and then like
Yeah, I've never seen anything about him. Yeah.
25 for Donald Trump. I've been that's my joke lately too, because I see these signs that say Harris Walls. I'm like, who's this Harris Walls guy? Anyway. But yeah, I think most of the people that watch this show though understand that, and they don't get down, really by that stuff. But listen, everyone's where they're at, and these things, because it affects a lot of people. It's what people don't realize too. It's not just about what happened on Tuesday, even what's going on in the sky, the astrology or whatever, however you feel in the realm. Just leading up to this day, there's a lot of division, a lot of different crazy things going on. So right now I feel like we're in a period of like relief, and some people might even be like in a shock or whatever, but for me it's more of like a relief rest period. Like it's going to get, in my opinion, it's going to get better from here. Like since 2016 it started kind of like getting crazy, and then at 2020, just like if it was going crazy, 2020 just went like straight crazy. We almost were in a war with Iraq. Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter. 2020, we all know we had to cover our smiling faces, like all these crazy things. Then the years after, but I think now we're going to start to get into a thing where it's going to be better for the average person, as long as, again, like I said, as long as you're looking for what you're grateful and you're not a victim and you're not letting it pass you by. So that's what
Yeah.
I see. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Go
Can
ahead.
I read something from the pattern app that I saw today? Which
Yeah.
was, it was very interesting. It's talking about Pluto entering Aquarius. So, it said, this is being talked about all over the place. We have mentioned it several times throughout the year and did a full audio about it in March of 23 when Pluto first entered Aquarius. Whatever sign Pluto is in is often the flavor of that generation. So the fact that it's changing a sign is very rare and does not happen every day. As a reminder, Pluto is about death and rebirth. It is transformation, and it reveals the shadow in whatever it touches. It's revealing the deepest truth possible, and it has been in Capricorn since 2008. As we've seen, it revealed the shadow of our systems, financial and otherwise, starting with the 2008 financial collapse, when Pluto first entered Capricorn, at that exact moment of the financial crisis. It has spent the last 16 years basically annihilating all of our top down, hierarchical structures.
Yeah.
Pluto is always going to reveal the truth in the
I'm getting
shadow,
chills right now. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but whoa.
right?
Because what else happened in 2008? Obama got elected. Right? Whoa. What's up, Nige? What's up, Blue? You guys are killing it, John. Yes, I agree with that. Go
Hey
ahead.
guys. Um, all right, so it says Pluto is always going to reveal the truth in the shadow of the archetype it touches. And it has been revealing the shadow of Capricorn. And Capricorn is the empire. It is top-down power structures. It is the inequality of the system. It's the rules. It's the bureaucracy. Bureaucracy. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, bureaucracy.
It's the patriarchy and the hierarchy. It's the traditional way of doing something. It's the old system. So
That
as
makes
we've seen,
sense.
hmm?
Go ahead. I'm saying that makes so much sense. That's crazy. Keep going. I have more to comment on this after you're done.
Yes, please. So as we've seen over the last 16 years, there's been the destruction of people being able to rely on the system, on governments, and it's revealing the shadow, the things we haven't wanted to look at. Over this year, we are seeing it go back and forth between the old and the new, because Aquarius is the exact opposite of Capricorn. Aquarius is an archetype about the future. So Capricorn is the old, Aquarius is the new. So this year, we are in the crosshairs, the juxtaposition of letting go of the old and embracing the new. We'd say we don't believe in predictive astrology, but there's no coincidence that Pluto will retrograde back into Capricorn until 2024 from September 1st until November 19th, which is in what, however many days, 12 days?
About a week, 12 days. An old week.
Which happens to coincide with the United States presidential election. And then it will fully enter Aquarius, where we will be in the new paradigm.
Yeah, exactly. 2008 is crazy because that's also when I started DJing. 2008 is a really pivotal year, at least for me. It's that's mind blowing. It makes so much sense too because of the my views on government and stuff, and I was a few years ahead of the curve. It's so funny, of course. Like, you know. In it, so did it say what the shadow of Aquarius is and what we have to expect? I might have missed that because my brain
No,
was.
I mean, I don't think it did. It was just talking about the shadow in general, the shadow
Hmm.
of Capricorn.
Yeah, so I guess we could look into that. The shadow of Aquarius. Anyone in
Well,
the God?
I'll read that part again. Pluto is always going to reveal the truth in the shadow of the archetype it touches, and it has been revealing the shadow of Capricorn. And Capricorn is the empire. It is
Yeah.
top down power structures, the inequality of the system, the rules, the bureaucracy, the patriarchy, and the hierarchy. It's the traditional way of doing something, the old system.
So that's the one that's going away. So what do we have to look forward to? Is what I'm because that makes so much sense between 2008 and 2024, and so many people waking up to the corruption in government. And that look at Donald Trump. That was he was all about. He's running against. I'm not the typical. All right. No, you're right. You're not the typical Republican because you're a New York City liberal. No, anyway. So um yeah, that's crazy. So that's something we could look into, the Aquarius thing. Try to figure out
Yeah,
the
I
archetype
it would be cool
shadow.
to consult someone who knows a little bit more about astrology. Maybe
Yeah,
our friend Davin.
yeah,
But
that's what I was thinking. Anyone
very,
saying
very
anything in the chat
interesting.
to let's see. All right. My thing is not liking this. What's up? Yeah, Nigel even said Davin. Yeah. What is up, everybody?
Blue Kachina
Zappo.
says that. Yeah, go ahead.
Zappo would have been a great president. Yeah, that's politics, and politics is the entertainment division of the military industrial complex. And that's Frank Zappa. Great quote. So true.
That should have been our quote today. Just kidding.
Would have been a great quote. I think that this
Thanks,
makes
Johnny.
sense. And this is a good lead into like our hermiting that we've been doing too, because at the end of any cycle, it's like a death. So maybe that's really what it was. And I guess
I
it said
think
it
that's
went
what's
out,
been going on.
it came out of Capricorn, but then it retrograded back, right? So it was out for a while.
Um, I think at the beginning it said something about let's see.
Hmm. We're getting
So
to it.
it's for 16 years it's been in Capricorn.
But I think it said recently it came out of Capricorn, but then
It's
retrograded
going
back
back
in.
and forth. It's
Yeah.
retrograding. It said
Yeah.
because of course
That's how cycles work, which people with weather, and I'll say this really quickly, people understand, especially here in Connecticut, because it's been in the 70s in November and everyone's freaking out. And I'm like, hey, every year this happens. And every year in January, there's a day where it's like 60 or 70, at least since 2001, because I've had a motorcycle that long and I've been riding every year. In January, February, warms up. And then November, I've paddle boarded in November before I have pictures, so people forget about these cycles, and that's what happens.
mm-hmm,
So like in August, September, it starts to get cold, but then it gets warm again for a week, and then cold for a week, and then warm, cold, until eventually it's just colder.
mm-hmm.
But that's the same thing with astrology, right? So it goes out of it's in Capricorn for 18 years, 16 years, but then it'll come out for a couple months and then retrograde back, then come out, then retrograde, and then finally it'll fully be in Aquarius.
Aquarius.
So something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's Pluto.
Pluto,
Pluto
yeah.
is some
And that's, like I said, an entire generation. That's probably how they mark generations. I would imagine, like when they do Gen
I
X and
think
stuff like
something like
that,
that, yeah.
millennials, it
Well, I don't know
has,
if they do, but yeah, it might be
or
like
yeah,
that.
maybe they don't, or it's the same concept, at least we can say, right? Like it's the same
Mhm.
similar kind of concept where it's a whole something that represents a generation.
Yes.
Amazing. So
Amazing.
we have a lot of different things to look forward to. And it's funny because right before you read all that, that's pretty much what I was saying. And then you just brought in some evidence to back up my claims, which are great.
It's
So
insane.
just keep your head up, everybody. Look for what's grateful. Keep your eyes present moment on the horizon too. See what's coming, because there's going to be a lot of opportunities that you can jump on first, and you could really have a great time instead of suffering.
Absolutely.
Mm.
But speaking of having a great time, I'll just catch people up on uh Joe and Sandra coming out here. So they were out here for a couple of weeks, and the first week they were out here, actually, Cody was on his hunt with my brother-in-law.
Did they get anything?
They didn't find any deer.
Oh
They
no.
saw they saw the does, but they didn't see any bucks. They saw one buck, but he disappeared, like he vanished. And these are called coos deer, and this type of deer is very elusive, and um, it's like the hardest deer to hunt here in Arizona,
Oh,
allegedly.
really cool. I
Yeah.
think they have an episode of, what is that show? It's a hunting show, but it's actually pretty cool. You know what? I'll think of it. But anyway, I remember Coos deer and how it was really hard. I don't even know if they got any when they went to hunt them on the show, because they didn't always show. Like sometimes they'd go hunting and they wouldn't get them. That's why I liked it. It was like a realistic show.
Yeah. So yeah,
Meat
they
Eater, I think it was called. Meat Eater or something.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Cody was out that first week when Joe and Sandra were here, and I took them up to a little town called Cottonwood and a nearby town called Jerome, which is like a it's like a haunted town. They're like copper
Nice.
mining towns. Hmm?
Oh, I was like, nice. That's cool.
Yeah, and I took them to like, I mean, it's Arizona's got a lot of like crystal shops and stuff like that. So we got to see a lot of lovely crystals. And did I get anything? I don't have anything with me. Oh, I did. I don't have it. It's my little crystal skull. I got a new little crystal skull. I never
Oh.
had a. It's made of opalite, but
Oh.
dang it, I don't. It's in the other room.
Oh,
But
hello, Kathleen. How are you doing? That's
yeah,
well, my
welcome.
friend as well, but Elizabeth is how I met her. It's Elizabeth's like one of her best friends. Saw her last
Yeah.
night. What's up? She heard my I died for their sins because I saw them last night and I'm like, I died for their fucking sins.
Oh
Like,
my God. You're so stupid.
no, I look like I died for their
Yeah,
sins.
you look
Yeah, there
like you
we
died.
go. I should put anywho.
Yeah.
That's really cool though.
So yeah, we were up in
Especially because
Cottonwood.
you're in these haunted
and-
towns and around Halloween is when they say the veil is thin, like when the spirits can come out and
Yeah. We were there maybe about a week-ish, a week and a half before Halloween.
yeah, perfect.
And yeah, and it was cool. Um Sandra loves Halloween time, so she really enjoyed it and she loves like skulls and um that kind of, you know, what would you call it? That type of look.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
skulls are cool symbolism.
Yeah. And then when Cody came back, we took them to Sedona and we did a cool little hike. And did it rain? I feel like it did rain a little bit, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I think we were indoors when it was raining. It was nice,
Oh, that's
beautiful
interesting.
weather. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Dia de los Muertos. Kathleen says. Blue Kachina says, I thought Jesus was black.
Yeah, you don't know I'm black too, though, Blue Kachina. I was the other night. I was singing every Ice Cube song I knew.
Oh
Trust me,
my.
I'm definitely not white. I'm at least clear. I could, but you're right. Uh,
You have Spanish heritage. Don't deny it.
yes, yeah. Oh, I have all kinds of great heritage. Yeah, so yeah, and the guy that we see the picture of, he was allegedly Spanish that we were told is Jesus or whatever, or the one they represent. So it does make
Oh yeah,
sense.
what was his name?
He was one of the Medici's or something, right? Or something
Yeah,
like
I've
that.
heard that. Italian, Spanish, something.
Yeah, Dia los Muertos. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna run and grab my little crystal skull. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, go grab it. I'll do a commercial. Hey everybody, make sure if you want more of the Over Sharon show, go to morelawsmoreproblems.com. It's a website I've had since 2013, so it's a gonna be 12 years old soon. Check it out. I've been writing on that blog, killing it. There's also an Over Sharon tab on there. You could click on and get over all your Over Sharon needs. This show is also available in podcast form through Podbean, so which means you could get on all the major pod platforms. So
Pod
check
beans.
all the Podbeans. Ooh, oh yeah, Opalite. That's cool. Hang on. Boom. Oh, see, it's what a change today. You're the one showing a crystal skull. Usually it's me. I love it.
Oh, that's a good view.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Cute.
And a cool thing.
I never do that. I never get skulls. So this is my first little skull. I like him.
Mm. Yeah, I have a skull a little one, even smaller than that I have a little bag and I carry to all my gigs with me. So yeah, we've been organizing a ton here, which is great. There's a storage unit because our Elizabeth's mom used to live in Connecticut and moved a few years ago down to North Carolina. So there's a storage unit with, like some of her grandmother's and her stuff and her mom's stuff that they're getting rid of. So we got this nice curio case, put all these crystals in it, and been moving stuff around. So you might see a new
Nice.
look soon for me. Hopefully, I've been talking about it a lot, not really on here, but to Sharon. But it seems that part of the project keeps getting pushed to last because we have to. But yeah, it'll be fun. But yeah, it's
What
cool.
project keeps getting pushed?
I was setting up the new podcast area for me.
Oh,
That's
it
the
won't be
launch.
there. It won't be right there anymore.
No, it'll well, right now I'm in a loft and there's an actual downstairs too. So I can't stand up in here all the way because I'm a giant. So with my stand-up desk, I could set it up, but I could still do it up here from a laptop if I want, or I'll have this stand-up. She has a stand-up desk too, so I have this idea for a whole stand-up workstation. We're gonna put them next to each other, and it'll be cool.
Smashing.
Smashing.
So do tell us about your latest hermiting.
Well, this is how, so I could explain. I think I've talked about this a little bit on the show, but just to put it all in one place. So, kind of about the time where I was going to go, we were going on vacation in Maine to the middle of August to Maine. Um, that's really what sparked it because I was on vacation. So I'm like, I'm just going to pay less attention to my phone and whatever. And I just had this, I didn't have the, usually you get this like feeling to check your phone and I just wasn't getting it like check things or whatever. I didn't have that need or desire, I guess you could say. And then after the vacation, it lasted a while and I was, still checking in with some people and do what I had to do. But I just had this feeling every time I opened even Instagram, it was just like this automatic repulsion. And it wasn't, I just wanted to turn it off and do something else. And I was thinking about it today. I think it had more to do with like looking at a screen because like in person with people, I'm fine and stuff like that. Not that I have been, hanging out less with people, but when I'm at work and stuff in public, I'm okay. But I think it had more to do with the screen because I could call people and still like talk and stuff, and that's fine. So, um, kind of going with our life because we were looking at possibly moving and getting a house and stuff. And so a lot of my attention was also taken up by that. And then Elizabeth went through a bunch of series of events, her life and her job and stuff like that. And everything's, it's working out well, everybody, don't worry. But so there's just a lot of, it was like all the bandwidth was taken up by that. And then also I've been having these crazy epiphanies too. So side by side with all this stuff, it's why I think it's been such a dramatic like backing away from everything for me because of that. So not only was a lot of my bandwidth taken up, but then also I find myself like going to look at a video or whatever it is, and it really doesn't matter what it is, honestly. And I'm just like, the last thing I was really listening to was like Alan Watts some things, but now I just every time I listen to it, sometimes I'll listen to the Bhagavad Gita. I guess still that's the one, or maybe Ram Dass or whatever. But other than that, I just really don't like these clips and stuff. I just feel like, and I know it might sound egotistical, but I feel like I kind of have a grasp on it and I figured it out. And I feel like a lot of that stuff from my view right now was training wheels. And now it's more about expressing it, my point of view on that stuff to people. Right. So I feel like I hit this point now. I don't know. Maybe next week I'll be like, oh shit, maybe when Pluto is done, I'll get back into things and whatever and look at this or not. But this is, obviously I'm explaining how I feel about it now. So I think that's kind of what it is. And since a lot of people that I'm friends with, especially online and stuff, resonate with this and that's what they're into, I just felt like I wasn't in the same exact spot as them. And again, nothing against anybody because everybody has their own path and journey. And I'm sure people know what I'm talking about and have been through this. Now, as far as some of my epiphanies that I've been having, that was one of them because we've talked about a lot on the show with the whole quote in the Bhagavad Gita where they say that religious texts or anything like this are just like waters on a floodplain, it's like bringing sand to the beach. Like you really don't need any of these religious texts if you get it. Like once you get it, none of this matters, right? So I feel like I'm starting to embody that. And I was like, I don't care though. Who cares? Right. I'm like, I don't care about any of that stuff I'm thinking at. And then I had this thought. It was like, yeah, but who is it that doesn't care? Like who doesn't care? And then my fucking mind just like exploded because I spent all this time like it doesn't matter. Who cares? Like I'm just gonna. And then it was like, oh shit, that's a spiritual ego possibly too, or another thing where I thought I was this thing, but that's not who I am. And it just kind of blew my mind, like I said, a little more. So because of all these things, and then so that's one of the things that blew my mind. And the other one is something we have been talking about, and I've been talking about on this show and other shows, really, which is the whole symbolic reality versus real reality. When you look out the window, and of course the neighbor has his car in the backyard again, where I have no idea why they do that, but is that really a car in the backyard? Is that a tree, or is that just energy? And I'm just viewing it, and I have the choice to just enjoy the beauty and wonder of it, or put labels on it and judge it. Like putting labels on it and judging it is symbolic reality, which is fine because sometimes you have to put a label on a bus and judge it because it's coming at you and you got to run out of its way, right? So we're not using judgments here. And so, and the other way is to just look at reality for the real reality for what it is. So that whole idea too has been coming in, and the idea that really we're just perfect and there really is no work to do. And maybe because I've been embodying that idea, that's what has been kind of repelling me from all this other stuff. And again, not that I hate it, I love it. I recommend it. I talked to a friend yesterday, and this is something else I've been up to. I was headed down to Milford to my parents because I've been going there periodically and going through stuff and throwing it away and bringing stuff up as we have room here and whatever. So I called a friend, and he told me about another friend who was like needed a friend to talk to or whatever. He's like, he's so I called him and cheer him up. And lo and behold, he's started to get into this kind of self-healing stuff. Like he was basically describing himself going through a dark night of the soul. And he has no idea, I've never talked to him about this before, whatever. He's just a good friend I've had for a while. And it was great because I was able to talk to him about it. I sent him our show of Bootsy. I'm like, listen, I take all this stuff and try to put it into the way that we speak. Like we always talk, I'm trying to make it understandable for normal everyday people. And I'm like, we just had this guy, Bootsy Greenwood. Shout out to him, by the way. Amazing. I listened to the episode again yesterday while I was going through my parents' stuff. What a great episode. Because anytime I send an episode to somebody, I start listening to at least the beginning, because I want to remember. So I sent it to him, and it's 2:22 and 22 seconds, or 2:02 and 22 seconds, by the way. And he's like, "Oh, this is great." So he really resonated with it, and he was at a point though where he was kind of down. I don't want to say like depressed or whatever, but It's like I didn't know. He's like, "You called at the perfect time," and I'm like, "Of course I did. Like this is how this stuff works." So I feel like because of that, um, that's where I think I'm going to try to start to put my attention is around here. I mean, obviously, I'm still going to have a presence online. I want to start to do that again, but I also want to connect with people around me that I could help, I guess, in a way. And it helps me also because it lets me remember all this stuff that I forgot. You're going back to the basics and stuff. And so I'm kind of just going along with that right now. That's kind of where I'm at. But that would really explain why I've been backing off from this because it seems that I just and all the time, because I'm an INTP. So all the time in the background, I'm always like, all right, it's perfect. It's this. Like I feel like I'm just breaking down equations, and every once in a while, I just have like an aha moment. And that was one of them, though. It was when I was like, "Oh, who cares about this? Like, it really doesn't matter." And then I'm like, "Who is it that doesn't care, though? Like, who is that guy?" I was like, "Oh shit." Nah.
Well, I've been kind of hermiting in my own way. And it's been, I don't know, weeks, maybe months where I'm just a lot more uh I'm a lot more tired. Um and going back to the episode we did with Spoons and Joe, I think maybe it may have that may have triggered more, more stuff. The Spoons definitely thinks so. She and I have been talking, and she's like, yeah, I think that trigger a lot for all of us, like, for Joe, for you, for me, for Spoons. Um, and so I've just been just a lot more tired, a lot more lethargic, a lot more pensive, journaling a lot, um, not feeling like even doing things like going to the grocery store, which I totally didn't mind doing before. Like I'd just be like, yeah, I'm gonna go. And I used to go all the time. It was a thing. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the grocery store. And these days I'm like, I just don't feel like going. Um,
when I quickly like when I was going through my thing in 2015, 16, I didn't want to like shower or brush my teeth. It was crazy. Like anyway, I know it's gross, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
was like, I gotta.
yeah. And I've been delaying that because I used to like wake up and I'd shower. I wouldn't shower early in the morning, but I would shower at some point in the morning. And sometimes I delay it and I don't shower till the afternoon or something.
It's
And
something
just,
about being in comfortable in the how you feel, and you just don't want to. I
yeah,
don't know. It's hard to explain, but yeah, that's
yeah,
part of it. Yeah, it's and people think you're crazy. It's great.
yeah. And I never used to be comfortable doing that. Um,
Yeah, me either.
I used to have to, like, I have to shower in the morning, and I'm more comfortable just being. you
And you
know?
know what's funny for me, and I'll let you finish. I feel bad even breaking in, but
No, yeah, it's fine.
I used to, because when I was, growing up, like when you start to shower daily, like whatever it is, like sixth, seventh, eighth grade, all you
Mhm.
and people, you get to high school and people start picking on people that don't shower and all stuff. So I was in that. And then I went to the Marines, and like obviously in the Marines you could get in the mud and get dirty, but what a lot of people don't know is they are like sticklers. Like if you can't stink, you have to always like smell good. Well, not in boot
Well,
camp. I mean,
just don't stink,
they
basically,
drill this into. Yeah, they're just like you have to, so you're always constantly worried about that
about your
too,
body odor. Yeah.
about different odors or whatever it is. And so I've always had that. But then when I went through that thing, I just didn't care anymore. And now it's great that I did, because I was able to grow this. Because if I watched this hair every day, it would just be destroyed. Like so.
No, well, it might not be because I'm telling you, when I had hair your length and longer when I was growing up and I was in high school and I was washing it every day. I don't
Yeah,
even know how I did that, but I grew up in a family that was very conscious of like smells as well.
yeah.
Like you can't stink. You don't be gross. Like that's gross. That's offensive. Like don't do that. So I showered every day. I washed my hair every day. And I'm like, I think back now and I'm like, I don't even do that now. And
Well, I
I
think
don't
it's
know.
different when you're younger too, though. You probably have a lot more oils and stuff, because they're going to
I
like puberty
guess, but
younger.
like still, I'm just like, how did I freaking do that? What a pain in the butt.
Yeah,
But
right.
I mean, my hair was very healthy too. And people were like, what do you put in your hair? And I'd be like the cheapest shampoo ever, like literally VO5
I was gonna say
from the
VO5.
freaking 99-cent store. Okay.
I do VO5 hot oil treatment. I'm gonna tell
Like I
somebody
didn't use
next time.
anything fancy either. It was just like, whatever.
Next time somebody, because people are always, what do you do with your hair? I'm gonna be like VO5 hot oil. No, I'm just gonna start making up ridiculous things. I'm like unicorn farts. It's very hard to get them, but you got to bottle them and let them age for at least 77 days.
But yeah, so I've been doing a lot of staying at home. When Cody went out to I mean it's good to also be able to get out so you don't, you know, get all like stuck at home and stuff.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
when Cody went hunting, it's the day he left was the day that Sandra and Joe arrived into town. Well, sort of. They were arriving late at night. So I didn't get to see Joe until like the next day. And Sandra was
What a
sleeping in.
synchronicity, right? Like it's so crazy.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, this is so crazy because like they were both planned separately. Like Joe's trip was planned like a year in advance or like, 9 months in advance. And Cody's hunt was planned months in advance, but it happened after Joe had planned to come and had bought his tickets already. So when Cody told me, "Oh, the the tags for the hunt are either going to be for this week or this week or this week." Like there were a few options, right?
Yeah, so
I'm
it was
like,
just random. Yeah.
yeah, and well, random, right? It just
Well,
so it could
yeah,
have
but I
been
mean, he
it could
didn't
have been
pick
other
that day.
times,
So
but he got picked the freaking
yeah.
day. Like he had to leave the day that Joe and Sandra were coming into town. So I'm like, well, I guess that happened for a reason. But yeah, so Joe and I got to have coffee and chit chat on the next day after he arrived, and Sandra was like sleeping in because I mean they had a long flight, just a long day, long days, however long it took. So and then after that they were starting to get back into the swing of things. Um but yeah, it was good that they were here because then I wasn't like at home like just like I don't
Yeah.
know
Yeah,
sulking
I'm
or
not around
whatever.
either.
Like
You're like, I can't even bother Brandon. Like he's like,
yeah.
although
So
I randomly did try to call you a few times. Sometimes I get that feeling, especially because another thing I do is a lot of driving. So that's another reason why it's hard for me to keep up online. Because like the other day I drove like
yeah.
5.5 hours. So I could
Wow.
always call. Yeah, it happens sometimes because I live an hour from the office. And generally we work it out to where I could go down to the office, get a van, and then like meet people and stuff. But one of the days I needed a bigger van because we had more equipment. So I had to like drive to Milford, which is like an hour and 10 or an hour and 10. Well, that day it was like an hour and 20. That's what it was. And then to the gig was like another almost hour. And then from the gig back to the office, then, so it was just, but I don't really, I like to drive and it's very peaceful for me. So I really, honestly, I don't mind it. It's just that it consumes my time sometimes. So, but I feel like I'll just probably start live streaming more when I'm driving. That's probably what I'll do
Yeah,
because it's
that's cool.
allegedly, everybody.
Yeah. But some other things I was doing lately, because it's just crazy how these you don't realize what's going on in the stars and the heavens or whatever, and how it affects you. And then you read something like what I just read, you know. um but I started to just, in the last several months, just kind of going through my Telegram, and like I was subscribed to so many channels and groups and all, and like I wasn't necessarily participating in them. And no offense to any of the ones that I left, but I started to clean them up. Like, okay, I'm just, I don't need all the clutter, you know what I mean? If I really want to go look for something, I will go find it, but it's just like distracting to have all the clutter. So I started cleaning stuff up like that. And like my contacts list on my phone, I started kind of cleaning that up too, like
Yeah.
people's numbers. And I've heard this, I don't, could be valid, could be not valid, but that um when you do something like that, like especially with like a contact or something like that, it's like cutting the cord of,
Oh,
if it's something or someone that wasn't
didn't end
for
right
your
or something. Yeah.
highest and best or something like that. It's like cutting that cord is like a clean, like a cleanup. I don't
That's a
know,
good idea. I
like
should
a
do that.
clean break.
I
Hmm?
have it would probably take me a year, but I could slowly
It
do
would
it
take
every
me
night.
forever. I have so many. I mean, I didn't do
Oh
that
yeah.
much, but I started to do some of it.
Like I've had the same I just keep adding to it. And it's been like since like maybe the late 90s. Like I
Yeah,
mean,
since you have a phone and that has a contact list.
yeah.
Yeah. And some of these people, I'm like, who is this person? I don't remember this person. Who is it? Like that one's a clear giveaway of like, yeah, I guess I don't need that phone number anymore, you know?
I'm waiting for to get a call and then it's a different person, like the number changed, but now I still know that person. That'd be so funny. Like, oh, you have this person's old number.
Yeah.
Crazy also too having people who have passed away having their phone number
Oh
saved in your
yeah.
phone, right?
Yeah. I've done that.
I
I
still
keep
do,
them.
yeah. Like, because oh gee, I know so many people. Like, even within the past year, one of my brother's friends, who I used to know, was friends with too. He passed away. He was young too. He was like just 30 or something. So yeah, it's crazy. But anywho, that's
Yeah,
just realm. Too.
I had my late husband Wesley's number on my phone for the longest time too. And it was, it's like some of those are hard to let go of, you know?
Yeah, that's not even a comparison. I'm just lazy. That's totally different with yours because that's got to be a big and everybody. Hey, you could go back to episode 13 and 13.13 or whatever, and you can hear Sharon talk all about that. If you haven't seen it, she talks all about her late husband and all that experience, and it was a really amazing. It was one of my favorites. I love those because we talk about
Oh,
death, and it's
yeah.
it's a subject
Death is
people don't really
huge.
talk about a lot,
Yeah.
so they just show
And
it a lot on TV.
yeah. Well, that what did I just read? Pluto going from Capricorn to Aquarius is like a death and rebirth type of thing.
Yeah, that's another thing that we could talk about for sure. That's gonna be huge because I feel like I've been feeling some waves, and I bet that's what it was,
Yeah.
honestly. And I'm excited about it because I feel like there's so many opportunities we have to, even like with comedy and stuff like that. Because if the paradigm's shifting and people don't realize it yet, because right now everybody's all anti-establishment, right? That's everyone's like, oh, so it's like the end of the age where finally everyone's catching up. But if you could be the herald of the new age and in that new energy, it's going to be like that split. Maybe that's another thing that splits out. Like a lot of people who are either passing away or whatever, they won't be able to handle that new paradigm.
Yeah.
And another thing I wanted to say too, when you were saying, and this is one of those things where I was like, where we used to mess with the words, or are you understanding it or comprehending it? But
Yeah.
when you said about the stuff that going in the sky and how it affects us, I kind of look at it. It is a little nuanced, but I look at it just as a reflection of what's going on and what is. And I know you kind of look at that too. But sometimes when people say like, "Oh, the Pluto's making me do this," I'm like, "You kind of sound." Not saying you do, but I'm like, "You kind of sound like a victim, the person in my story." They're like, "Oh, it's." I know that Sharon doesn't look at it this way. We like it like as a weather forecast, like, "Oh, what should we kind of expect," or stuff like that,
Yeah.
or as a validation of everything that's happened. We're looking even back in the past, we're like, oh, no wonder why this happened. So it's more of a healthy kind of way to use astrology or these things. And it's the same thing I was saying to my friend yesterday about tarot, because he's not familiar with it at all. And I'm like, listen, the way we look at it, we don't ascribe any magic or superpower to it at all. I'm like, you could if you want. I'm like, but there's just a step, and it's about self-healing. You can look at all the different cards, and it's a trail of and I'm like, right now you're the hermit, dude, because he was talking about how he's like, I don't even want to hang out with anybody. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, you're the hermit right now. There's nothing
Yeah.
magical about it. It's just what it
It is
is.
what it is.
But the secret is it's actually all magic, but he doesn't have to know that. Yeah, I'll tell him later.
Yeah.
There's no magic, but it's all magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's the joy of being a wizard, everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, something else I was kind of inspired to do the last several weeks, I should say, is I wasn't going to tell anybody, but I told Brandon, so I'm going to share. Um I've been looking at the Tao because I thought to myself, if someone were to ask me when we're done with the commentaries, right, and reading through everything, and someone were to ask me, well, what did you learn? What is this Tao all about? I would probably still say that it's pretty much ineffable. Like I just can't describe it. Like I can't even tell you.
Sorry, it's a secret.
um
It's occulted.
but you know I was thinking to myself about, because of the path to purpose that Owen Hunt, Bootsy Greenwood put together, and my kind of results from that, which were that I would very much like to maybe start doing some audio recordings, though I it's going to take me probably some time to figure out what I'm going to do about that or whatever. But um I was inspired as well by um his method a little bit, because he sometimes takes a book and he kind of distills it into like either a summary, or he rewrites it a little bit so that it's in more like, that's why he reminds me of you and me, because he like just makes it into like simple language so that it's understandable, and then he reads that, and that's like his reading of the book. And so I was thinking to myself, could I read something? What could I read? And I'm like, and I was also thinking about, what if somebody asked me what my thoughts were about the Tao, and then I was like, well, what do I really think about the Tao? How does it sound to me? What is it like to me? And I thought maybe I should just start kind of like putting my ideas on paper about what I think the Tao is about. And then I'm like, well, why don't I just start trying to translate it for myself? Like, not that it's a translation, because I've never even seen what the Chinese version says, right? But it's I guess it's an interpretation, like for me, of all of the versions that I've read or at least have access to viewing, and I can see all the different perspectives coming together. And then I can distill that down for myself. Like what would I say? How would I translate that verse for me? So first and foremost, it's for me, it's not for anyone else. So if you don't like it, I'm sorry. So anyway, you have comments?
Oh, I love that idea. I'm like, I'm even like low key jealous. I'm like, damn, no, that's great though. That's amazing. Such a great idea.
Thank
And if
you.
you do end up turning it into an audiobook, let me know because I'll totally narrate like the beginning of it. Like obviously you should read it, but I could always do like the intro or whatever.
You can
Uh,
write an intro.
yeah. Oh, that would be great too. Yeah, for sure. That would be awesome. And I think it is a great idea because it really is you're taking your time and attention and using it to build something, and it's something that you've studied and you've already put a lot of work into it. And also what you could say is like you were saying, it's not quite your translation but it's your interpretation based on these other versions and stuff, but also based on your life experience and putting these concepts into practice. And you could say that in the book too, like, listen, this is based on what I've read and done in life. This is experience, experiential. So yeah, that's amazing. I love it. And
Thank you.
and Blue Kachina said, can someone explain why it's spelled with a T and pronounced with a D? And I'm like,
That
it's
always screwed me up
because
because
it's
it's
Chinese.
Chinese.
And I
That always
listen,
confused me too, Blue. I was like, it drove me nuts for a long time and I got over it.
she had to let it go.
To let it go.
She was doing the letting go method. She's like, can I let
Yes,
this go? And she's like, I can't. I gotta
I
come back to
can't.
it.
It's annoying the crap out of me.
She came back a month later. She's like, can I
I
let it go
wanted to
now?
spell it with
No.
a D for the longest time. And then now I hear people pronounce it with a T, and I'm like, wait, what? What are you saying?
Yeah. You did a flip. It's so funny how that happens.
Yes, Kirk, Dissident Jones, my distillation. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. And also,
So
I was just gonna say
go ahead.
quickly, shout out to Kathleen. She said she was out for a walk and she looked up and saw a cloud that was shaped like a heart.
Oh,
Amazing. We had a great conversation last night and she gets it about things. So that's amazing. It really is just about what you're grateful for, and things are gonna fucking happen that you don't want to, but it's not about us in that regard. We love it.
aw,
So
Blue.
what did he say now?
If I could explain the Tao, it's seeing a heart-shaped cloud on a walk.
Yeah, there
Oh,
you go. Yeah.
that's sweet. Well, back to the hair shampoo. Tony Coriolis says, "Suave daily clarifying was my shampoo." LOL.
Plus,
Pert
the
Plus,
first
I
time
remember Pert Plus.
yeah, I remember meeting someone and they were like hair. It was like I think my friend was dating and he ended up marrying this woman, but her friend was a hairdresser and she was like, oh, what kind? She would ask everybody kind of hair shampoo they used. And she's like, it's the same ingredients that are in floor cleaner. And that's like when I started to actually, I would go to like a salon or like we have stores called here, like they're called Sally's. I don't know if they're everywhere, but it's like a salon store where you could
Sally's,
like,
yeah,
okay, yeah,
beauty
Sally's.
supply or whatever.
So I would be going to like Sally's Beauty, but it's just because I didn't want the great crazy ingredients, and that was like in the mid 2000s. So I've been, trying to stay away from toxins for.
Yeah.
And now I
I mean,
just get
I
a hair bar, shampoo, whatever. Go ahead, Dan.
yeah.
Yeah, you're great too. I know on that. So
Yeah,
do
I
you?
started avoiding weird, weird ingredients or like things like nail polish because I grew up not being able to wear nail polish because, I was in that cult that was like, no, you can't do that sort of stuff. For them it was more about like making yourself look attractive, not about, it has chemicals in it or whatever. But eventually I was just like, it started to annoy me how like how much of a pain in the ass it was to like take it off and it would like peel or whatever. And then eventually I was just like, what is in this stuff anyway? And you would always hear about those like weird things about like going to these nail salons and people getting like bacterial or fungal infections or just like weird gross stuff. And I'm like, maybe I don't want to be doing that kind of stuff.
I hear
Yeah.
it. There is a Elizabeth found a non-toxic nail polish. Somebody makes it, I guess, on Etsy because they were sick of all that stuff. So I there might be alternatives out there, but
Yeah.
100% for sure. Those chemicals that are like, especially in the nail salons, they say they pregnant ladies aren't supposed to go there. I'm like, yeah, but shouldn't no one go there then?
Right,
Like,
right. Why only pregnant ladies?
they're like, well, they're more sensitive, but and then in my mind, I'm like, yeah, that just means it takes more of the stuff to hurt you. So if you keep going back, whatever. You got? Sometimes you have your guilty pleasures. It's fine. We're not
Oh
judging.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, if people like it, that's great. I personally was getting sick of like
Yeah, for
the
sure.
whole
And
like dealing with it. Like just like one of the reasons I don't wear makeup is because then I'd have to take it off and then put it back on.
yeah, yeah. And one of the
And then
tenants,
people would be like, "Wait, who are you? I don't recognize you." And
yeah,
it's like,
yeah, yeah.
"What's the
That's
point?" There's no point for me. But
exactly. And
it is
we,
fun, sometimes to play dress up. Oh, speaking of which, Halloween. So, Joe and Sandra were here for Halloween. It's her
uh,
favorite holiday, right? One of her favorites, if not her favorite. And I decided to take them to my sister's house so that we could hand out candy with to the neighbor kids and whatnot. So we just sat around. My sister was out of town and her husband was there, so he was sitting out there by himself because I guess his friend who was his neighbor who was supposed to sit with him like went off to have like take their kids and then also my brother-in-law's kids with them to another neighborhood with their friends. So it was pretty quiet, but it was fun. But the funny thing was Cody has this like flight suit, like this jumpsuit, and I was like asking him if he was going to wear anything, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to wear that jumpsuit." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "You know what? I recently bought a jumpsuit that I haven't worn yet. I'm going to wear it." And then I put it on, and I put on because lately I've been wearing like I don't really use a big purse anymore. I used to use like a bit. I used to be like this big purse person. And I'd always have a big giant purse with me. And like,
mean, a big purse woman. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, big purse woman. And
This person, no.
and lately, I think ever since it's been several months, but like we were out in Jersey when we were out in Jersey and we were going through the house and Cody found this cute black leather fanny pack that was his mom's. And he's like, "Do you like this?" I'm like, "Yeah, this looks cool. I'll totally check this out." And he had already bought some he had already bought a different one that I use and I already had another one that I was trying to use but I wasn't really into it. But then I when I got that black one, I was like I
Oh,
started using it and then I started using all my fanny packs, all three of them. and
nice.
um and so anyway, I put the fanny pack on top of the jumpsuit and the jumpsuit's like a green, like a I don't know, like an army green or something like that. And I went up to him. I was like, "What do you think? Does this look okay?" Because I thought to myself, I may not be wearing a like Halloween outfit, but at least I could wear this jumpsuit and it's not going to look awkward or anything. So he goes, "You know what? He's like that's total Ghostbusters. All you need is like whatever. Like he got me these. We had these in the garage. We'd been cleaning out the garage, and we had these old what are those goggles? It's like some old goggles, and then he's like he had a backpack, and then he's like, let me grab the vacuum cleaner hose, like put
Nice.
the vacuum cleaner hose in there. We stuffed it with like an old blanket, and then he gave me like a belt clip thing that has a flashlight in it, and he attached it to my fanny pack. So like and then I put my hiking boots
I think
on
I know where this is going, but I'll
and
keep
I
letting
had
you
an
talk.
outfit.
That's great.
I don't think I'd ever dressed up for Halloween. I think that was like pretty much
Really?
my first, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because you were in the cult.
Yeah. I wasn't allowed.
No, I'm looking for a
So
picture because so I didn't I didn't dress up on Halloween specifically, but I did however get a chance to dress up. Trying to find that picture. I did get a chance to dress up for a couple of gigs that I did, which was pretty cool. So I dressed up as Gandalf or Brand. I said a Brandolph. I even said it on the microphone when I went out to do like the announcements. I'm like, hey everybody, I'm like, I'm Brandolph the Brave. And I was like, AKA Brandolfo Bonito. I should have said Brandolfo Guapo,
was
but
it a Mexican wedding or
no, but
Latino?
There were some Spanish people there and they laughed. I could tell they were like,
Okay.
I get it. Yeah,
Oh, we
but it was
forgot about the Great Brandino.
yeah, the Great Brandino. Oh, I didn't forget about it. But yeah, you're right.
Oh,
I haven't said it that
I
much.
haven't said that one in a long time.
Yeah, the Great Brandino. Maybe I did forget about it.
You did.
You're like you did. Yeah, you're probably right. So yeah, so that was for a wedding, and that was planned and everything. I might have talked about that even on the show. So that was planned, and then I went to I don't know why it's not showing up here. So I went to DJ with Dwayne, so he just told me to show come to this wedding, and he was like, "Oh yeah, he said they're into Lord of the Rings." He's like, their wedding, I guess the ceremony, he said he thinks it's going to be like Princess Bride themed or whatever. But I get there and it was actually Dungeons and Dragons themed. And when I got there,
You were
I
like
didn't have to
Merlin.
show up till
I
like
mean,
everything was already set up.
Gandalf.
Yeah, well, like everybody. So I got there and everybody in the parking lot was dressed up, and I had my hat and my cloak. So I put my hat and cloak on, and I just walked in, and Dwayne just he didn't know it was going to be that way, so he didn't bring anything. So he was just in a tie and whatever. And so he walks me over to introduce me, and they're like, "Is this our DJ?" And they're like, they're like, "Whoa!" I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." That's great. So we had a good time. And then somebody came over earlier and was like, "Is that your real hair?"
Is that
Because
true?
there's a few
No, it's
people
a
doing
wig. It's
well, there's a few
horsehair.
people with wigs on. Yeah, it's horsehair. It's a really good wig. There was a few people with like
Nice.
wizards and like white hair, and at this venue, it's actually Bill Miller's castle. I've talked about it before, but there's a stage there where we set up so people could see us, and the area where the dancing is near the stage, obviously. And people were there doing pictures right after the ceremony. So there was a group of the family and friends, and I heard him talking. And one of them was like, "Is that his real hair? Is that your real hair?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I took my hat off and like did this thing, and everyone was like cheering for me, and I'm like, "This is my life." Like it's hilarious. So it was a fun time, but that's cool that you guys are. So did Joe dress up at all, or did Sandra
No,
dress?
they didn't have anything really to
Okay.
dress up as, but yeah, we just hung out in the front yard on the driveway and chatted and handed out candy to the few kids that came by. There weren't that many.
Oh, that's cool. Well, at least they
But every
got.
time the kids came by, I would I would shout out to them. I'm like, tricks only, guys, only tricks here. They'd be like, no, no. But I'd tell them I was kidding.
We want treats.
Some of them
How
were
dare you?
like they thought I was being serious that we didn't have any candy.
Oh no, dude, that's not nice to prank little kids. But it is. You kind of tricked them, but you didn't give them a treat, so it's like both, right?
Yeah. See,
All right, I'm sending this right now so I
I
could
did
show my
both.
kid off pictures.
Oh, you're gonna
That's
try
cool
to
though.
show it on the screen?
Yeah, I want to see how it comes up.
Oh,
That's cool
okay.
though that Sandra got to experience a Halloween
Yeah.
in
And there
your.
was a really cool house that we passed that was in their neighborhood. And we walked over to it and it was totally decked out. It was very well decorated.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, this is the wrong.
How are you sending it to yourself?
I'm emailing it. I have it right here. I grabbed the wrong one, but it's all right. It's just a screenshot of one I wanted to show, but it'll do. All right,
Yeah.
so that's it, and then this is it. Okay, this is funny. So this is kind of it's a little blurry, but you kind of see. So this was me looking. So I'm up on a stage, and behind me is all the people are waiting for the ceremony. and like kind of in the front is where the ceremony is. So yeah, that was me with my wizard hat,
Mm.
and my cloak, and then
Yeah, I mean it looks all right. Even the venue looks very
oh yeah,
like apropos.
yeah, it totally is. That's why people do stuff like this here, and it's great because we're one of their preferred vendors. They're obviously their favorite. They always like, when are you going to be here next? Every time we show up, they're excited that it's
No.
us. Yeah, because we we yeah, I mean, these DJs could just be, it could be a total like one of the worst, if they're not good or if they're just annoying. So here we go. This is me. So this is the owner of the place. Snap this and put it on her Instagram. Look at me. I'm like perched and this. So that was me
Can you zoom
behind.
in on that?
Uh, there we go.
There you go. There you
Did
go.
it work? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like perched on my little, and this was, I think
Oh,
during
it's
my,
funny because you can't tell that that's a little stool, but
yeah,
cool. Very cool.
yeah, it's a
I
little
bet
stool.
that cloak is warm. Is it wool?
Yeah. whoa, sorry, everybody. It's, got on Etsy. Elizabeth has one as well. Well, it has a hood too. It's super warm. We wear them when we're hiking, and
Hmm.
like they're great when
It
it's
looks very nice.
yeah. So I just had it with me, and it's funny because I said that, and I have my wildlings on too, like the
Oh
tall
yeah,
ones.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah, I
cool. They're
like
like little
those.
boots. Yeah. So it was cool because everybody, when I first went to see, I think it was the groom, we were gonna mic him up for the ceremony, and then that's when they said that, and I was like, this is just how I dress. I'm like, I just had to dress normal. Like usually I have to put on
A
a
tie.
nice
I don't
shirt.
wear
And yeah, I'm like, to a DJ, I'm like, I just came how I dress everybody. Like I just walked out of the Hobbit
Oh,
hole,
that's
and
funny.
it was great. Yeah.
That's
So
funny.
that's in a nutshell, that's kind of how it's been going. And I've been super busy, like 2 or 3 weddings every weekend since the end of August. It's just been, but it's been good. And I've been able to save money and connect with people. So it's been really cool. And I can't really complain. I mean, I get to dress as a wizard and people are excited about it. So it's
That's
really funny.
fun.
I think there's a future in it.
You do what you like.
Yeah, maybe I should just go to open mics dressed as a wizard and just do jokes as Brandolph. I mean,
Yeah, why not?
it's a pretty good character. And I have the puppet. I could bring the puppet with me too, and I could just get a little cloak for it so it could look like a
Oh,
wizard. Big lizard, little wizard, big wizard, little big lizard. All right, everybody. No.
big profit, little profit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Big profits and little profits. They're all important.
Oh God. I think that was a thing in the Bible where that was like the major and the minor, the major prophets and the minor prophets or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, like the major and minor arcana.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
And Elizabeth says arcana, and I was like,
Mhm.
say it again. I'm like, I like how you say it.
Arcana. I thought
Because
it
I say,
was. I
what's
mean,
that?
I guess I didn't notice the huge difference. It just depends on how you want to say it.
Yeah, who says it? Yeah, it definitely is
Arcana,
either way. So when
arcana.
she says that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. It sounds fancy. She
Hmm.
likes the way I say 100. I think I said that before because it's instead of
100.
100, I say 100. I'm like, yeah, give me 100. She's like, how many? I'm like, 100.
100.
Cien. Oh, and she's also been speaking Spanish, which is great. She wants to,
Oh,
I'm giving it away. She's like, wouldn't it be great if we learned Spanish and then just were around Sharon and started speaking Spanish? Don't tell
oh,
her I said
very
that,
nice.
everybody, unless you watch it. You see, Elizabeth, you won't know that unless you watch it. Kathleen, don't say anything. No, but yeah, I think it's cool. So, we've been trying to speak Spanish back and forth. She's been looking stuff up or some
Nice.
Spanglish in there, but it's still fun to communicate.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is fun. Spoons is learning Spanish again too. I think
Oh, amazing.
I think I posted something in the chat and she was like inspired to start back up because she studied in high school or whatever.
And
And yeah, I've been studying my Italian, but then I started doing the Spanish le lessons in Duolingo just because I want to practice my spelling and my grammar, not so much the spoken or the written necessarily, but the fact that certain words have certain diacritics, they have certain accent marks on certain letters. And um, that's mainly what I would want to practice. And also like vocabulary, because sometimes I'll forget how to say a word or not so much that, but also there's like Duolingo teaches, I don't know which variation of Spanish they're teaching, but different countries say different words for different things. So I get different, sometimes I get a different word and I'm like, oh, I guess this is how most other countries say this word because it's not the word that I would have said, or it's not how I would have said it. But yeah, so it's I mean, I can do the lessons. They're pretty easy, but it does help me kind of stay on top of vocabulary and my spelling for sure.
which is amazing because then if you write things, you could write in them in Spanish and in English. You could write a version of the Tao in Espanol.
Wow, that would be a feat. If I
We could
can
do a
barely do it in
podcast.
English,
What if we could do a podcast in Espanol? That would be crazy
that
because
would
that's
be
a,
difficult, but yeah,
but it would be a great way to learn. And then can you imagine doing like an oversharing episode and then we'll do a 30-minute recap in Espanol, everybody? And we do a quick
that
like
would be
Spanish
tough,
recap.
but that's a that's a project, that's a challenge.
Yeah, but that's a show that could like blow up, because Spanish speaking. Think about all the Spanish speakers; they need to hear about our wonderful message.
It's a great idea.
We like
I
all of a sudden we're like huge in like Chile or something. We're just out of nowhere, like we just blow up somewhere. Argentina, we're like flying down there to do like appearances,
Oh my.
and I'm like, "En español, por favor." Hey, I mean, you never know. That's the thing about this realm, everybody, and this wraps this up because this is another thing I'm realizing. We really limit ourselves with our beliefs on what we think we can accomplish. And, it might be silly that I just said all that stuff, but it could come to fruition. You never know. Anything could really happen. And, you think you're stuck in a terrible spot now, but tomorrow is a different day. The next second is another second. And if I think you're in this moment where you're feeling pain, if you focus on the things such as gratitude, could it be that those are the things that expand in the next moment and then the next moment? And then it's like a chain reaction, like a snowball falling down a mountain. Then it becomes an avalanche. But instead of an avalanche of deadly snow, it's an avalanche of amazing things in your life. I don't know. It could be. And you could end up in
It
Argentina
could
doing a
be.
podcast live for tons of strangers and having a great time. You never know.
Wow, I
Get
would
us booked,
really, really.
Argentina. We want to do it. We'll do it. Colombia, anywhere we'll go. I would love to go to South America. Are you kidding me? I would go in a heartbeat. Look at me. I look like I died for their sins. They would love me
Oh,
there.
oh my God. Can you imagine do Brasil?
Oh,
What is the Jesus that's
they'd be stopping me for pictures. Like, can you put your arms out? I could make a living just standing there putting my arms out. Like, because in Vegas, you've been in Vegas, the people that dress up like as Transformers. I could just put a robe on and just somebody write that down.
Hmm.
I have a backup plan for a career. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna move to what is it?
Rio de
Brasilia?
Janeiro?
Oh no, Rio de Janeiro, not
I
Brazil.
think it is, right?
Yeah, Rio. You're right. Yes, Rio. I'm gonna move to Rio and just stand there like this. People are gonna throw money at my feet. It's gonna be glorious. I'm gonna wear sandals. All right. I think this.
Oh,
Oh, what a great episode this is so far. I love this. See, this is another thing too because we've been keeping a lot of expressions to ourselves, and that's one of the things. It's like an occulted tenet, if you will, where they're like, "Don't talk about your ideas." And since we haven't, we get together now and we did it on 11/7 at
yeah.
117. So we had all the
It's
palindrome.
almost 7. It's 7-Eleven for people in other countries. In America, we do 11 slash
11/7.
7
Yeah.
slash 2024, but in other countries, they do 7 slash 11 slash 2024. So
Which
it's,
seven in
which is
Latin is like
7-Eleven.
sept. So it's like sept 11. It's like sept 11.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
close.
I studied Latin. How dare everybody? I
It's
actually did
another.
take a. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say I did study year of Latin in high school. So,
I
uh,
wish I had, but I did a bit of Duolingo Latin. I didn't get that far in. I mean, I feel like I did, but I
et
kind of
tu,
got
Sharon.
like what I wanted to do was learn it like, I don't know if you've heard of this, but there's a way to learn Latin so that you can know other languages when you see the word, like because you see the
Easier.
word and
Yeah.
you know the root, then you know kind of what the meaning is. And if you see it in different languages or in different places,
That's how it
it's
was pitched to
helpful, right?
us when they
That's
were
how you that's how you got
peddling it
taught
in high
Latin.
school. Yeah, yeah. Because I
Oh,
went to a
see,
Catholic high school for a year. Anyway, yeah,
I
and
wish I
so
had
I took
learned it
Latin
that way
and
because
Spanish. My
yeah.
it was crazy. As a freshman, I was taking Latin and Spanish. It was nuts, but it did help though. It really did because you could see how the words, especially in Spanish, relate with the
Mm-hmm.
romantic languages, especially. But I think it's possible that like Latin was back engineered. Like I don't know if it was the root
Yeah,
or
we've talked about it before in that
right. Yeah.
episode we
Okay.
did
Yeah.
about Arabic being the original, or an old form of Arabic
Oh
being
yeah.
the yeah.
Interesting. But again, those who know, we're just scatting. We're scatting
Yeah,
about Latin. Sorry.
yeah. Scan about Latin. So
Excited.
but I started to learn yesterday, was it last night? I think I started to learn German. I did the first like couple lessons of the German in Duolingo. So
That's amazing. I got to get back on Duolingo. I told Elizabeth about it. She started laughing at me. She's like, "Yeah, that sounds like you." She's like, "You got to turn the." She's like, "Just turn the notifications off." She's like, "You can't have anyone telling you what to do."
yeah, just turn the notifications off.
That I mean,
It'll
I
never
also did
happen.
get. I that's a kind of comical too because I did kind of get busy with other whatever things. But yeah, I do speak Spanish, and especially if I go to venues where I know people that are Spanish, I always try to speak Spanish to them. So I think it could be something we do, and it would be interesting. You never know. But it for you though, totally, you should do that. Did you? So did you read your?
No, I didn't, but shall I?
Yeah, that's what. Okay, yeah, I didn't think you did, but
Okay. All right. Well, preface everyone, I'm going to read my version of the Tao for the first verse. That's the only verse I've written so far. I've looked at translations from Aleister Crowley, D.C. Lau, Dwight Goddard, Stan Rosenthal, Stephen Mitchell, Edward Brennan, and Tao Wang, and Bart Marshall. Those are the ones that I've kind of come across, and four of them are the ones that we read every week. Well, not every week, but every time we do an episode of the Tao. So, I'm going to read verse 1, and this is just so far. I mean, it might change, but it might not. So, this is what I have for verse 1. Defining God is an exercise in futility. Likewise, it is with the Tao, the path to God. For no two souls traverse their path identically. The all is mind, the source of all imagination. The created is its expression. Letting go of desire, one can grasp its elusiveness. Through desire, one can comprehend its creation. Matter is simply energy in motion, united yet distinct, a paradox. This is the mystery of the ages. And that is my verse 1 of the
amazing.
Tao.
All right, I had us. Let me remove your pin. There we go. Oh yeah, that's. I love it.
Thank you.
I'll let it stand on its own.
Yeah.
It doesn't need any commentary. I think it would be like if someone, I'd be like I'd be like graffiti on on the Mona
I mean,
Lisa.
you can if you want.
No, I just like how I will say though, I do like how it's very simple and very just it seems like it's exactly what you need to know. There's no extraness in there. It's like
Oh,
good
thank
comedy. It's
you.
like good stand-up comedy where it's like a clean joke where there's exactly the amount of words you need. Like the big thing with comedies, you always want to whittle it down to the fewest amount of words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
I was trying to do that in the sense of I was trying to be concise, but at the same time explain something.
It sounds very unique and modern as well. Like it's like a
Thank you.
yeah, anybody can kind of understand that, you know.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, you're right. I love it though. That's great. It's very
Thank
inspiring. And I'm
you.
glad that it's crazy because it's like just doing the podcast, you know, we have Bootsy on and then you take his course and you're doing this and now we're talking about it on the show and we covered the Dow. You know, it's like it's great. It spawns all these other amazing things. And I think I want to definitely take that course. I love that, especially because I'm gonna have a little more free time. I'm excited. You know, so I'm just gonna throw out some ideas too while we're being funny. So for making money for the winter, there's a sheep farm here. I'm thinking, and there's a couple other farms. I'm thinking about just going there and be like, hey, do you guys need help? Because I would love to learn how to sheep farm.
That would be cool.
It would be so look at me anyway, right? Wouldn't it be hilarious if I also farm sheep and I look like I died for their sins too? And I'm like, and I'm a sheep herder. Like I
You
think I
know
could
that
become the president. I really do.
you know that guy Neil Cooper that Cody does. He's a Reiki master from the south coast of England. He used to be a sheep herder.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, I think see, you know, because it falls in with all the, you know, I just like to whatever, but all these fun ideas about getting a farm and opening a wedding venue. If you had sheep, you could do like the running of the sheep. But yeah, and it would tie in with comedy because it would just be hilarious to have a show up to, if you do shows on that land, you could just show up with your herd of sheep and literally be
Or
Jesus.
just take one sheep with you, your
Or, you
favorite
know,
sheep,
that would be great.
your baby lamb.
And I could do stuff for kids because you know that'd be another. And that's the thing about any kind of like when you're an
Petting zoo.
entertainer, it's not like people think like you're just a comedian and that's all you do. Like comedians do all kinds of stuff. So I would love to like take a couple sheep and go to like well, not a school, but a homeschool or whatever. I go to school, you know, just stuff
To
like
an
that.
Amish farm. Just kidding.
Yeah, I bring the sheep to the Amish. That'd be hilarious. Oh, I would definitely be down with the Amish. They would love me. I look like I died for their sins.
Yeah.
I like this new catchphrase. I think it's catching on. You know, it's funny because I had to get gas on my way back yesterday. So I was almost home and I stopped and get gas and I went to go to the bathroom in the gas station bathroom. And I'm like, that's when I came up. And I'm like, and I was looking in the mirror. I'm like, I look like I died for their sins. Cause I was trying to think of a funny way to like uh break the ice between like people with the election and stuff. You know, I'm just like, but anyway.
Yeah.
So it's funny that I thought of it in a gas station bathroom. I birthed it. Anyway, anything
Anyway,
going on in the chat? What do we got?
it's pretty quiet. How's everybody
Awesome.
doing?
Yeah, thanks for hanging out, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I guess we could wrap. We've been going for what, like an hour? Oh, about
And
an
a
hour and a
half?
half. I mean, we could make it a shorter one, or we could talk about whatever you think. What do you think?
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about
Um, I could
for
talk,
this
you know, all day about all kinds of several topics, but
hermit episode?
I
Did you
think I got
cover?
out. Yeah, I think I got out everything I really wanted to say with this stuff. I mean, we could kind of just
You called
recap
it Dark Nights of the Fall.
Dark Knight. Yeah, I guess I could talk about the title. So it's like a Dark Night of the Soul, but
It's the
I just feel
fall
like it's the fall.
season.
And
Hmm.
you know what? Good thing you said that because I did want to talk about something else. And it is the fall, and that's the season of death. And that's kind of
Hmm.
why I think
Halloween,
Halloween, exactly, right?
Dia de los Muertos.
Exactly. The Day of the Dead for all you gringos out there. And so for all the gringos, so I feel like it is the right season for this. So it only
It's
makes
also
sense,
the season
especially
for hermiting.
exactly. It's the season for this for the hermiting. And because of what's going on with Pluto and all this stuff, it only makes sense that this season we're going to feel it very strong. So if you're somebody who's been
Very
going through this and
strongly.
feeling this very strongly, you're going to feel it quite strongly, everybody.
You
But
didn't know
don't
who I was
worry.
doing?
Huh?
Trump. We're gonna do it,
That's
and
how
we're
much
gonna
I
do
don't
it
even,
very strongly.
that's how much I haven't even been paying attention. Like I can't even remember what he sounds like. It's crazy. Like I have not, but again, I'm not like bragging or whatever. I'm just, but yeah,
I
no,
mean,
he's
I can't do
fabulous.
the voice, but I just do,
But
the
normally I think I would
words.
have picked that up, because I would have been like,
Yeah,
all
you
right,
probably would have. Yeah.
he's definitely a lesbian, right? All right. Anyway, that's the thing. See, this is why I don't ever hate him because that was like Owen Benjamin's joke. But it's funny because he's never had a beard, and if you have that point of view where you think a lot of these people are just jokers, they're not even like they're just pretending to do this to wake people up, right? It's the viewpoint some people have,
He's a
and God
clown.
bless him. Not that I have
He's a
nothing against,
troll.
but
He's
it wouldn't be
trolling.
funny if Donald Trump actually was a woman and they just were like, staging all this stuff. It's to troll people.
Hmm.
Like they would be, yeah, anyway. So, but yeah, that's why, and also by saying these jokes, I feel like we minimize people because a lot of people give people power. Like Hillary Clinton. Like there's a lot of people like I hate Hillary Clinton or I hate Donald Trump or whatever, Biden or Harris Walls. I don't even know who that is still.
Me either.
So like I hate this person, but at that point, it's like I hate Hitler, but then he's just like a conduit for your attention, like
Yeah,
your negative
that's true.
energy, and you don't want to feel that. Just let them be silly pranksters. That's what they do. It's like low key energy. That's why
Hmm.
I feel like Trump has a lot of that low key energy, which he's like a trickster, and it screws with people because smart people see what he's up to, and then other people, because what he says is so appealing, and not like the racist stuff, but just the stuff about, oh, let's get back to how it was. It'd be great, right? Because those people that lost their jobs and live in the Rust Belt, for them, it's real. So they hear this person, and to them, it's great. But that's because he doesn't mean anything, right? That's, in my opinion, everybody. Most politicians don't ever mean what they say. They're saying it so you vote for them. So that's a very low key thing for someone to do, right? So if you just treat it that way, then you could say, oh, Loki, you're just trying to be funny. I get it. You're just busting my balls. This is what we can end on. This is what I've come to the conclusion, everybody. I feel like this universe is a giant ball busting machine. What happens is it's just going to bring you things that it thinks are going to annoy you, bother you, make you sad, scared, and afraid
Hmm.
until you're just like, whatever. All right,
Yeah.
Loki, Trump, like you're just messing around. So I get scared. I'm not going to get scared because I don't have fear because you know what? Fear is the mind killer. Fear is a little death that causes total obliteration. It's like just like that litany of fear from Dune, right? So if the whole
Yeah.
universe or realm works that way, it's kind of just about up leveling. And again, there's a way that you could push it away and just show apathy and just pretend that you don't care. But it's not that. It's okay if you're sad now or upset or even excited or whatever you are. It's about feeling that and allowing that feeling its day in court and then being okay with it and realizing that it's okay you feel that way. And then you could start to apply, right, what we were talking about, because you don't
Yeah.
want to repress it, obviously.
Yeah,
But that's
absolutely.
kind of how Sharon and I look at life and how we go through, and it's been working great. And look, she's gonna give her own interpolation of the Tao.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. Gosh, you were saying something that made me think of um yeah, it makes me think of when you're a spiritual child, you're going to see these things in the world as a scary monster in the closet, maybe. And when you get to the age where maybe you get to the point where you realize it's just a cloak or your backpack or your sweater that's casting a shadow, and you're like, oh, I thought it was a scary monster. It's not. Um, you can apply that spiritually, I think.
Exactly. You see that it's there's really nothing to fear but fear itself.
Ooh.
And especially when it comes to politicians, because like I said, they never do what they say. So if you're one of these people, like I was talking to my friend Dion, and he had gotten this motorcycle accident, and he's kind of, not that he's like a either way, but he's was going to get this operation, and he's kind of worried. He's like, well, if Trump goes in, he's like, I might lose the insurance that I have, all this stuff or whatever. But
White
anywho, I'm
Dion.
like, yeah. And I was just like, politicians never do what they're going to say, bro. Like, so if
They
you
don't.
want it, if you're worried that he's going to do the opposite of what he's going to say, then yeah, be worried. But if, because let me remind everybody, this he banned bump stocks last time, right? Which is a part of a gun. So it's like nothing that you would ever think a Republican would do, but he did it. So here and over there, I don't care. But what I'm saying is, if you're worried for that or happy, it's the same thing. Just what's going on right now, right? That's really what are you thankful for? That's all. But I like
Dissident
that spiritual
Jones.
child thing. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Dissident Jones says fear stands for, well, he didn't say this, false evidence appearing real.
Mm,
I like that.
yeah. And again, there's nothing wrong with fear. It's just what you act like. Everyone's going to feel the fear, but then what do you do in spite of
In
that fear?
response. Yeah.
What's your response? Do you have a reaction or do you respond or do you
Yeah.
freeze or whatever it is,
Yeah.
And and then the only other thing I could say really is no matter what you choose, even if you do freeze and make the worst choice you ever thought, it's about being easy on yourself and realizing you could make a better choice next time about
Yeah,
it.
because it was meant to happen. What, like, if you decided to go a certain way, then whatever comes out of that was meant to happen, and it's going to be growth either way. As long as you take it that way, right? As
Yeah.
growth.
And going back to the whole concept, it's like everything's perfect anyway. And like I was saying, if this universe is a giant ball busting machine, you could be thankful sometimes when something hits you and you're like really angry or scared or you have this emotion that's out of control. You could be thankful later or even in the moment as you realize it because you're like, oh, the universe did it. It found the one spot, that one thing, and it did it. It's like if you have a pet and you're like, no, the one thing you don't want them to do, and then they get up there and they knock that thing over. You're like, no, it's the same thing. But then you could be thankful also because you have a chance to overcome whatever it is. And then if you don't, it's like a cycle we're in, right? Just like I was talking about earlier with the weather, the cycles, it's the same thing. It comes back
Cycles
around
are
and it
coming back
smacks you and it
around.
smacks you. And then one day you could duck it and laugh. And
Mm-hmm.
then just like Neo in the Matrix, like he becomes awake and then he realizes he can dodge bullets. And just like Morpheus, the famous line when he, Neo's like, are you saying that when I get good, I'm going to be able to dodge bullets? And Morpheus says, what I'm saying is you won't need to. Like when you realize who you are, you won't need to dodge bullets. And that's what it is. Because at first we realize things and we try to avoid them, but then once we get to a point, we realize there's a way that it just doesn't have to affect us. We could allow it to happen. There's a raging storm at sea, but a couple 100 feet down, the fish are just chilling, and it's like, yeah, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a great analogy for us. It's the same thing. There's an emotional surface and then there's depths, and it depends on where you want to put your own attention, I guess you could say. Yes. So
Absolument. And that's my French. I say
this
different. I was
uh,
telling Joe and Sandra that I say different words. Like, I'll just pick a word for whatever reason, and I end up using that word for saying absolutely all the time. So I like French. I sometimes will just say absolument. Or
I
like
love it.
I'll say Guten Morgen. I used to when I used to have a 9 to 5.
Oh yeah.
I would say Guten Morgen. That was my way to say good morning to people in German. So
I like it being multilingual.
yeah, and then when I say lately, when I say thank you, I say it in Italian. Grazie.
Das Vadanya. We should say some Russian too.
Yeah, I need to learn
Godish.
some kind of Russian thing too. But I'm trying to take the language learning in like baby steps. So I feel like I know a good amount of Italian now because I've been doing a lot of those lessons. Um, enough to just understand real basic stuff. Um,
Allora, cosa voglio fare adesso?
oh yeah, hold on. Allora is like it's like
Allora,
so, and then
so
goes, say it again.
cosa
What?
voglio fare? Cosa I
Uh-huh.
think it goes
What?
"Voi fare adesso" or something
Oh,
like that.
what are
Goes.
you gonna do now?
What do you want to do now? Yeah.
Yeah. Or what do you, yeah, what do you want to do now?
What do you want to do now? Great. Yeah. That's something because they would always be like, goes on. I'm like, what are you saying? Because I spent some time in Italy, you know that,
Yeah.
sure. But for the viewers that don't know, when I was in the Marine Corps, and yeah, I try to learn as much as I could. And there's certain things I remember, like piano. I was telling Elizabeth about that, like
Soft.
piano. It's because they would say that if you're being loud
Mm-hmm.
or when you're driving too fast, piano. So I, big shocker, everybody. I have a tendency sometimes to be loud when I'm talking. So I'm always like, and not even like being mad, just talking. I'm just like, oh, excited about
Piano.
things. I'm like, just be. I'm like Elizabeth. You could say piano, piano.
Mm-hmm.
She has Italian heritage.
Piano, piano. Forte, not non forte.
Non
Piano.
forte, piano. And then I know destra and
It's to the right.
destra,
A destra is to the right.
destra and sinistra.
Sinistra is to the left.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
and drito is
Drito
straight.
is straight.
Yeah, I learned because of the
Yeah.
cab directions. Vai
Yeah.
drito, vai destra, vai destra.
Yes. Yeah.
And I also learned the swears too, where they'd be like, vai
I don't
cazzo, vai cazzo, and like
I
Dio
don't know those.
pobre, Dio cazzo, Dio pobre. It was so funny. They're
I
so
don't know those. I
they're
don't know
so
those.
dramatic. It's great. They're like
Yes.
Dio pobre means like poor God, like
Oh,
Dio.
oh, that's funny.
And Dio cane is like they said it's like a dog god. It's hard to explain, but it's just it means
Oh, how
like God damn
funny.
it kind of means in our language, yeah.
Oh, okay. How fun. I don't know that one.
But I wonder how long they've been saying that, like they're
Yeah.
like yeah. But
It
it's
is
I
the
love it. It's a great
modern
language.
Italian is like the Tuscan variety, I think, because there's so many dialects in Italy. They like just took one variety and like united the country.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But Dio, that's definitely something that's probably pretty universal for God.
Dio.
Dio,
Remember
like
Dio?
DIO. Yeah. Oh, the group, yeah. Or Jane or the guy Dio.
Yeah, the guy. What was his name? I forgot his first name.
I should know because like Family Guy or something they say like
I
Jane
watched
killed Dio or something. Jane
I
forget
watched
that
the
name.
documentary.
Oh, did you? How was it? I didn't see it.
Oh, it was good. Actually, it was really good. I didn't know anything about it, but Cody kept telling me we should watch it. We should watch it. So one day we watched it. It was pretty good.
Oh yeah, I have
But
no idea. I'll check it out though.
the song that sometimes I will just like randomly pop into my head, not that I know it very well, but like because the words are funny, like Holy Diver. I'm like, what's a holy diver?
I know. I do.
Holy diver.
Where's it? Oh, it's funny because now you think about it, it could be diving within, or
Ooh.
maybe it's a scuba diver who was shot a bunch of times. Hey, oh,
Yeah, I should look at the
that's
lyrics
hilarious.
for Holy Diver, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking actually we could do an episode where we break down lyrics of song lyrics because there is a new song by I believe it's so the band Tool you've probably heard of Maynard James Key.
Maynard, yeah.
Yes. He has a couple other
We passed by his vineyard
that's right.
in Cottonwood, and we went to we passed by his wine tasting room in Jerome. So
Oh.
yeah,
So he has
it
two oh go ahead.
I was gonna say it has a funny name.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's all into symbolism. I mean, he's very into self-healing as well. So
Interesting.
that's what his bands are about. Like Tool and his songs, they're like the stages of his healing. And he has two other bands. One of them is called Pussifer, and the other one is
One's
Perfect
Perfect
Circle.
Circle. I remember that. I
And
think
one
we were
of
talking about
them,
Joe and I were talking about that on the way up.
yeah, and they just released a track. I think it was Pussifer. I think just released a track, and Elizabeth played it, and I was listening to the words, and I'm like, does he listen to the Over Sharon show? I'm like, this
Dude,
is
seriously?
amazing.
That's crazy.
So
Okay,
I
so
was, but of course it's kind of hidden, but you could, if you listen to this show, you're like, whoa. So I was thinking we should maybe do a show where we break down some lyrics or whatever. And we could even pick
well,
random songs of just popular
send me
songs.
the song that you heard.
Okay,
and
yeah.
I'll check out the lyrics. Well, I'll tell you what the name of his vineyards is called. You tell me what you
Yes, go
think.
ahead. All
It's
right.
called Merkin Vineyards.
Merkin?
Yeah. Almost sounds like America, America, but it's not. I'll let you
Oh,
type that into the
no, no.
dictionary.com.
I know. I'm pretty sure I know what that is.
Okay. It's a picture of at least the image that's on the stuff is a picture of the Vitruvian man, right? And like he has like a
Leaf.
vine of grapes, like a
Oh.
little set of grapes in the center, if you know
Over
what
his
I mean.
junk.
Yeah. Yeah. Over his junk.
Well, yeah, because I think there was a comedian or whatever who had a bit about what those were because he went through it.
Okay.
So that's yeah.
I
But I
did not
wasn't
know
sure.
this.
I'm like, is that the word or is it like a
I did
different word? But when
Yeah,
you're facing like that's
Merkin. I did not know what that was until Cody and I went to Cottonwood some months ago and we went to eat there at the restaurant and his restaurant. And he was like, really? Like he called it this? That is so bizarre. I'm like, what is it? And he told me, I'm like, okay.
it's funny though because symbolically you can think of it as like the leaves that they used Adam and Eve used in the Garden of Eden, right? To
To
cover. So
cover.
it's like when you first gain consciousness, right? So it has this meaning, but then it also has this funny, weird meaning too. It's yeah,
Yeah,
shit's crazy. It's deep. Yeah,
that's
definitely.
funny. But I remember
And he
when I
uses
was
the
growing up,
grapes, hilarious, and then it's
I
in the
know
wine.
something, I think it is. I think that's what it is.
Because like if you think about even going deeper what that leaf represents, you're hiding your shame, but what are you hiding with the grapes and the wine? You know what I mean? It's like
Oh, by drinking.
yeah, you hide your shame or whatever, right? You're hiding
And
your,
did they
your
say like, do people conjecture that they used grape leaves to
oh, fig leaves,
cover
I think.
themselves? Or fig leaves? Okay, figs.
Yeah,
Okay.
fig leaves, yeah.
I
But
mean,
him using the grape, it's the symbolic, yeah, symbolic for the and he has the song sober too. That's crazy. So yeah, he gets it, man. Because
yeah, I
it
remember
Taoistically, it's about just, is alcohol bad? Well, I mean, if you drink
in
10 drinks,
moderation. It's
yeah.
right. But
You'll think
yeah.
tequila is evil if you drink the whole bottle.
Hey, if you're like if you're not that everyone's like this, but like if you're like Maharaji Ram Dass's guru, it probably does nothing to you.
That
Oh,
dude,
Blue
yeah.
Kachina says Ronnie James Dio. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what it is. Yeah, I knew it was
I knew James sounded familiar, but I was like, I don't remember. Yeah. So if you guys haven't ever seen his documentary, it's pretty cool. I didn't know his story. I never knew anything about him. Um, but we did watch The School of Rock with Jack Black,
oh yeah.
and he does, and I think we had watched this at my brother's house for some event like Christmas or Thanksgiving or something. It was just playing in the background, and The School of Rock, and he has like he's a little kid. He's playing a little kid who his parents won't let him play like guitar or something like that. I can't remember the story, but he has a picture of Dio on his door, and like he's like talking to Dio, or he's like crying and upset, and then Dio comes out of the of the poster, and he's
Oh yeah,
like
that's
rocking out and stuff. It's just funny.
oh yeah, I forgot about that. Hilarious.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I like
anyway,
Jack Black. He's funny.
he
Did you
can
ever
be
see
funny.
the Vaporize, that movie? Did we talk about this with
Mm,
Ben Stiller and Jack Black, where they invent one of them invents this spray that gets rid of poop, like your dog poop, you could just spray and it disappears.
no, I didn't see that.
Oh, it's so funny. They become like millionaires. Oh, dude. Oh,
What's the name of it?
I don't. I know the
Okay,
product
I'll
is
look it up.
called
Jack Black and
Vaporize, but so maybe the movie's called Vaporize, but it might be called something else. I can't remember. It was a fun.
Jack
I'm glad
Black,
I remembered it because I'm gonna rewatch it now. I gotta watch it
Jack
with
Black
the
and Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Ben Stiller's funny too. We watched another good movie recommendation. I don't know the name. Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson are in this movie about working at Google.
Oh,
They're like old they're salesmen and their company goes out of business, so they go to Google to become interns. It's really good if you especially if you like the show um Silicon Valley. That
okay.
it was an HBO show if you're into that. This is kind of like a forerunner to that actually because it came out in like 2014, but it feels like it just came out recently, but it's really funny. And they
Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson?
yeah,
Okay.
and they make fun of the tech industry pretty hard. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be something to catch.
Anywho, everybody, those are our movie recommendations. Thank you so much. We should maybe at the end of each episode when we do this, we should talk about movie or show recommendations. It's a it's not a bad idea. And in music, we talked about Tool, so
Yeah.
these are all our interests. I mean, why not? We're over Sharon, right? It's not like we can't say
We just watched Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy because Cody hadn't watched the 2005 version, and we had recently watched the episodes of the really old 4-part series from like the 1980s, which that one was pretty cool too. Cody likes it much better because he says this, but he liked the new one too because they have different storylines, so they don't. It's not like they're telling the identical story. They're
oh.
kind of, it's like very varied. It's a variation on the story, so they take it in different directions, so it's pretty cool. But Cody's learning the theme song, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy theme song, on the trombone.
Oh, that's hilarious. You should put that on YouTube. That thing will probably get a million views.
Yeah, probably would.
That's great. I
So
thought I had
anyway,
something to say about it. I can't. That's all right. It was there and it was gone. That's all right. It was about like a viral video, but I can't remember.
no
I do
worries.
have I don't know if I've ever told you, but I have a viral video on another channel. Not super viral, but it's got like 30,000 views
Oh,
or something like that. Maybe even more. I haven't checked it, but it's just because we used to put videos up of us on like jet skis and stuff. And
yeah.
one had like almost 20,000 views. It was my friend on one of these kite surfing tubes. So it's like a tube you pull behind your boat, but if you hook it up to the bottom, it flies and they stopped making them because people were like dying and shit.
Oh my God.
So we have a video of him though up about 20 feet over the water for a while, and we come up on this bridge, and like instead of it going down, the thing like goes up toward the bridge a little, so he dips toward the bridge. But
Oh,
it was a cool video. But the one that got the most views is just him on this. I should probably next time I'll bring it up for the show so he could play. That'd be funny. You could see me all young too. Um, this thing called a wet bike. They show him in Police Academy, so it's not quite a jet ski, but it's like a bike on the water. It doesn't have wheels actually, but it's more like a picture like a snowmobile on the water. It has like one big front ski and then the back has something. So anyway, and they're from the 80s and we found some on like Craigslist and fixed them up and took them out in the water. And I had just have a couple of videos of them doing silly tricks and they got like a bunch of because I put wet bike wheelies. So people thought it was like a motorcycle video, I guess. And there's a bunch of hate comment like this isn't a motorcycle. That was so funny.
that's
But I just
funny.
left it. They're still up to this day. Yeah. So
Maybe you link them in the description below.
yeah, that's a great idea. Uh Amazing. Well, I mean, I could even let's see, because if it's not very hard to find, because
Bum,
maybe I
bum,
could just
ba,
play
ba,
it right
ba,
now.
ba,
Let's
bum,
see.
bum, 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 ba, ba, bum.
Um
Bum, bum, ba, 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 bum, 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 ba, ba, bum. That's the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy theme.
yeah, Tigers. Oh, that's gonna sound great on a trombone.
Yeah,
I guess it's not.
he's been
I'll
practicing.
find the links and put them up. I can't find it so
Yeah,
easy.
no worries.
All right. Well, I guess we could
So,
stick a fork in it. We got some good stuff in the end out of the
oh,
like
you froze. How funny. It's probably time. Was it me
yeah.
or you?
Must have been me then because or I just didn't notice it. I think it's both, but whoever's talking just doesn't notice, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Because like just mine will freeze on your end and on my end, just you freeze.
Mm,
But I'm
yeah.
hosting it. So, I'll take the blame.
You're pixelating. You're freezing.
How about now? Is it
Maybe it's
better?
me. Yeah, it caught up.
All right. All right. We can stick a fork in this episode. All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for hanging out to the end. Shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for chilling and contributing. You gave us the name of the rock star we were trying to think of. We couldn't. Thank you so much, Ronnie James Dio. Thank you, Blue Kachina. And that's why we love our chat, that and for many other reasons, because you guys are just the best. So if you guys want to support us, just hang out in our chat every Thursday when we go live or premiere this. And if you'd like more about us, you can go to morelawsmoreproblems.com, click on the Oversharing tab, and check out all the great stuff we have there. Many ways to support us. And like we always say, the best way to support us is to, like I said, be here, subscribe, share, like all those fun things, and comment. Let us know what you think. And if you have any questions, all that fun stuff. All
It's
right. I hope I
cinema.
got through that without freezing too much. um, well, what do we say to the good people, Sharon? Uh-oh.
Okay, you froze. All right, should we?
That's funny because I said I was like, all right, you want to if you want to, I said, what do you say to the good people, Sharon? But I must have froze. That's
Okay,
hilarious.
yeah. So I will answer you that once you start over Sharon,
Then you totally stop being a Karen.
that's right.
And remember, everybody, we're not trying to tell you how to live.
We're just trying to share lots of cool anecdotes with you, but we're also sharing with you today that if you need to hermit, it's all right. It's okay.
Exactly. Enjoy your hermit time, and we'll see you when the sun comes out. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Ciao.
See you next week. All right.